listening to the Open Window Show on Killradio. This is the Ustad. I got Steve Barada right here next to me. Got a few guests. Henry has arrived. Henry Perez has arrived. We've got Randy Astronovas in here. And we're getting ready to have a live set. You're listening to Dog right now. Love Earth music.
This is going to be very... I've never heard Dog before, so it's a treat for me.
Oh, you haven't?
No. Oh, I probably haven't heard him in a long time.
You probably played in Dog, you just don't remember.
Wow.
A lot of people played in Dog.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, we're going to go ahead and start the set right now. We have Sleepwalkers Local live in the studio right now. Here's Sleepwalkers Local on Killradio, Open Windows Show. Killradio.org. This is the Open Window Show. This is you, Stott. I've got Steve Barada right next to me. And you've been listening to Sleepwalkers Local. Live on the air. So, hey, let's ask Grant here a few questions. I'm going to pass you the mic. That's a reference to the Beastie Boys, by the way.
Oh, yeah, rest in peace, Mercedes-Benz. Hey. That was a shocker.
That was a sad one, man. I've been feeling it.
Yeah,
man,
definitely no disrespect to that guy or any of the people associated.
No kidding. Man.
Yeah. Thank you for the poetry and the tunes.
Pleasure.
Thanks everybody out there for listening. Grant, that was amazing.
That was what that was. I guess I don't know if I made. Yeah, it was fun. It's always fun. It's always different. So it's good. I just try to keep it improvised all the time, with a little bit of like stockpile of stuff to fuel the fire.
A little Stockhausen influence there.
Yeah.
What inspired you tonight or just now or today or whatever?
Tonight. I moved to a new location. I moved to Manhattan Beach and
Rad.
Just a change of scenery, I guess, but still same old me. So I guess I wanted to try something different. Obviously, playing on the show is different. It's great. I mean, we did a little bit of it when we were touring as VXPXC. We went up and played San Luis Obispo and radio station in Seattle, the Earth one that's up there. I forget
EXP.
Yeah, one of the KEXP offshoots. And those were both really great experiences because you got a lot of time to set up, and you just sort of like you're playing in a room, and there's nobody really there. You don't have that pressure of the audience. You know, this is 4 people is pretty much a good audience for one of my shows. So this is pretty right on. That's pretty comfortable. Yeah, you have knee pads on though. It's pretty awesome.
You got a sunburn too, there, Randy.
Randy's been hitting the slopes. He's been skateboarding maniac. He just I don't know where he finds time to Facebook it all when he's yes, you
one addiction to another.
Really? Yeah, because I would have read your emails or gotten your voicemails or something. I would have heard it on your tape machine. Your Wayback machine.
Are you skating all the way to the beach? Is that how you're getting there?
Fuck you! I'll skate to the beach. Oh, sorry.
That sounds familiar. That sounds
Faith
like
No More.
Faith No More, the first album. Chuck Mosley.
I'm a sleep skater.
Nice.
Sleepwalker. Where'd that name come from? Sleepwalkers Local.
I'm obsessed with the Thinking Fellers Union as a name, and then also jokingly, I was in a goth band when I was younger, so we had a Front 242 influence. So actually, the first band name I came up with is Sleepwalkers Local 242. Sort of a combination of all that stuff together. Sleepwalkers are just the song Sleepwalkers, obviously, but because as you'll see in the next set, I used to play guitar more than I usually do. Now it goes back and forth.
Yeah, that's what surprised me the most. I expected you to have that Telecaster or whatever. And
it was a lot of time going through that, and I'm proud of that time period. I haven't integrated it with the new side so much. I was really privileged to be able to do a release for Stunned that I was really happy with, the Better Living Through Science.
Nice.
And it was fun. It was a lot of like stuff I had actually like planned out and kind of wrote and practiced and things like that. Not that I would ever be able to play one of those songs again in my life, but it was good to have it there. I mean, I'm sure I could stumble on the same chords again and enter that mindset.
Are you against that? Are you against repetition?
I am. I couldn't imagine it. I couldn't imagine as an artist playing the same thing. I mean, I guess I know I know people go on tour and they play the same set every night, and
Yep.
that's crazy too. Like I can't even imagine, even as an improvised or a sound artist. Yeah, just to be like, okay, I guess I did. I got an 89% on my set tonight because I hit 89% of the marks I meant to hit, and like, oh, I didn't do this one thing I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
Whereas like, maybe it's a cop out, but if you're improvising the whole time, it's like, man, that was really like, unless it's totally like crap the whole time, like, there's some parts where you're like, yeah, that was really good. Like, I was really happy with that, and then you just go on to the next one. I mean, I miss the idea of playing in a band and like everybody getting to the same crescendo point or whatever, and like, or like everybody stopping at the same time and looking at each other and being all like, yeah, this is awesome, like high five. But like, yeah,
So
when you're playing by yourself, it's a little, you can't really high five anybody else.
So
you can high five your iPad.
What about your other? Last time I saw you, maybe 6 months ago, you were playing Obscure, or 3 months, 4 months ago.
Obscure is near and dear to my heart still, and Michael Schultz has unfortunately moved away to the East Coast, but he'll be back. I'm living in his house, so he's got to come back at some point.
Hi, Michael. How you doing?
Yeah, he's out in Albany actually seeing Yaku and LA Lakers.
Oh man!
Although he's probably back by now because it's like 2:00 out there.
Oh, that's true.
He's probably driving back from Albany to Ithaca, which is actually a long ass drive. I don't think he understands the extent of the driving that he's going to do on the East Coast.
Ooh.
But it's fun. It'll be fun.
Well, let's try to keep you awake. Let's try to keep Michael awake if you're out there driving.
Yeah. If you're driving, I don't think you can pick this up in the upstate New York. It's a crazy space age radio that I don't know about, but everyone else is out there.
He'll listen to it on YouTube later in the future. Right now, it's the future.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I got to set up this mic thing. So, should I go back into some other jams, or?
Yeah. Do you want to get right back into it now? You want to talk some more?
We can talk some more.
Are you chilled out enough? Because when I first met you, you were playing in that one band, Thousands. That was
Thousands was fun.
Good era. Yeah. And VXPXC at the same time.
True. That was.
And I see the shirt you're wearing there, the Bottle Smoke Festival. I remember that well.
Now I feel like I'm self advertising, but pretty much all the shirts I have are Echo Curio shirts. So it was just because we got them all.
So Echo Curio, yeah. What a place! I miss it. Yeah, it was a big part of our lives for a few years. It was
a good time, and I'm glad I met a lot of people through it. It couldn't have lasted any longer than it did. Honestly, and I'm glad for what has come out of it. I think, for the most part. I also think that a little bit of hardship doesn't hurt anybody. In terms of like trying to find places to play, or like doing it yourself, or like coming up with finding new and innovative places to do. Like there were so many good house shows right after we stopped doing stuff, and a lot of them took the brunt from us, like stuff we had promised to people. They had actually took over and said, "Oh, we'll host it at our house," and that's scary. I mean, there could be like cops could be knocking at your door, or like, or just weird ass people coming to your house and like screwing stuff up. You just don't know. Unfortunately, one of the blessings and curses of independent music is the audience. So.
Yeah, I'll never forget the Il Corral bathroom. It was a pleasant
room. Yeah, that was fun. I just felt like I was invading somebody's house the whole time. Like I was really I feel bad. But there's so many like great shows there too. Like,
but we get attached to these venues, and when they get really sad when they go away. But
yeah, you just hope that the next thing that happens carries on that spirit to a degree, or carries on the stuff you really liked about it. Like I would like to see more LA venues support touring bands. I don't think that happens a lot. I don't think I love places like Homeroom and Pairspace. Pairspace still does it a lot to a degree, but that's the smell. Like you got to know the people. You got to know the bands that are like there, that are LA bands that are booking it, and sometimes they just book all LA bands.
Yeah,
that's kind of hard. Like you really hope that they would extend the welcome mat to people from outside and say, That's true.
So, well, but
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
because I guess I was always on the forefront of it. People coming to me about stuff. Then again, I'm also freaking sick of people writing me the week before they were supposed to play in LA and being like, "I need a show. Like, what can I do?" And it's like, you're kind of screwed. Like,
You should plan it 6 months in
yeah,
advance.
sorry. Like, it does take. It's a pretty big town for that sort of stuff, you know.
So what advice would you give to people out there for given your experience running a venue and I mean, because obviously it's a huge amount of work. I mean, I've seen how you look at the end of a week of running that shit. You're just barely standing, you know. But you know, I mean, everybody appreciates the work like people like you put into it. What advice would you give to people who are going to start something up or might
Start something up, I'd say develop your, like, work with the people that are going to come there every day. You know, like not your audience per se, but like the regulars, like there's just a support system that happens in this sort of stuff. And you can see the same sort of people and you're like, hey, I got to go to the bathroom. And like you hang out, watch the door, or like I got to go run and do this thing, or there's some emergency in the back, or like, you know, just this idea of people. We did a really poor job, unfortunately, at the Killradio of accepting volunteers and like getting people to help us out. I mean, eventually we got to the point where our core friends, Taylor and Jorgen, you know, other people like that were part of it.
Seth,
Ged, all those guys. I mean, that was good. Like, but it took us a little too long to do that. I think it was. In the beginning, it was just the four of us running it at that time, you know. And before I started doing it, it was just three of them.
Yeah.
You know, and they had some pretty. They didn't do very many shows. They made it a show every 2 weeks, kind of thing. But it was pretty eclectic, and it was. This took a little while to get going, so I'd say just keep your friends close, and look to build more people. I don't know what other than that, I was like, I really never thought I would do it again. And then just a couple weeks ago, I got asked to be on the board of directors for Human Resources.
Wow.
Space in Chinatown. So now I'm doing that, which I didn't think I was ever going to do. And it's less of a band a night or 4 bands a night like the Killradio was. It's like 4 bands every week, maybe, or 2 weeks, you know, and it's gonna stay like that. There's no way we can do the Killradio pace.
Yeah,
and that's
what I was gonna ask. Like, how do you keep from burning out?
That's gonna have to be the way, and it unfortunately it comes at a cost of like being standoffish or hands off with people to a degree. It'd be like, I can't help you this time. Like I can help you next time. Yeah, I can't promise that, but maybe something will happen. You know, and you just have to. It's still kind of first come, first serve, unfortunately. I mean, definitely once you commit to something, you can't. That's the worst thing you can do is just back off from it or say, like, oh, could we switch that day to some other day? Because there's some better band that's coming through. Like, you can't. As a space, that's the fundamental rule. You can't ask somebody to, like, back off their date, I think. I mean, once you make that commitment, you should really support it.
So do you have a release coming out soon?
No, I'm sadly, I need to get back into recording. The last thing I did was a split tape with my good friend Adam, who runs House of Alchemy in Buffalo, and it was a Sleepwalkers Chapels, which is his solo project, and then our duo together called Circle on the Point. And it was there was a two tape thing, and we each of the solo projects did a side, and there was 2 sides of Circle on the Point, which is sort of a long form, more droney kind of thing. But I'm really fond of it, and we have a lot more material that we're working on to release. So does Obscure. Right, Obscure actually has a release coming out on his label in the next couple of weeks.
Really?
Called Shining Arbor, I believe. And and he's got some other great stuff coming out on his label. So if you don't know the House of Alchemy, look it up. He's got tons of good releases, and it's out there. Other than that, I would. I don't know what I would do next.
So you don't really plan what you're.
I used to. We used to all the time. Like VXPXC and Thousands, like we had all sort of mapped out, and that was just that golden time of like CDR labels and tapes. But I think if anything I'm really interested in is the guy who did Music Your Mind Will Love You, Michael Donnelly in Australia. He has a new label, which is, I'm not going to remember the whole name. It's like Ashram something, but he has a new label, and I'm really excited about it, and we're trying to get some material to him for that. I'd like to put something on that, because Brothers of the Occult Sisterhood and Terracid and some of those bands, they're just some of the best music I had ever heard. So, like jazz for my generation, as opposed to like, you know, a Coltrane or a Davis or something like that.
So, like with kind of more experimental, like
very experimental, sort of, and like beats and like, but also nodding towards that sort of stuff. Yeah, and just and all homegrown, like all the artwork he makes it himself, or him and his wife or his sister. Like they all kind of live in this like the jungle area of Australia, Kyogle, and it's, you know, it's a little pricey to get it airmailed out to you, but he's always really giving with that sort of stuff, and it's just it's one of those things where you take a chance on a mail order sort of thing, and it really pays off. Like we were talking about earlier, Randy, it's like when you throw stuff out to the wind and hope what comes back is going to be really amazing, and it blows your mind when it's even better than you thought, kind of thing. So yeah, I'd say definitely support your local musicians or your non-local musicians through PayPal, or, you know, mailing them money and getting releases or records, or even Kickstarter. Hell, I Kickstarter. There's enough Kickstarter stuff out there to keep people going. I mean, Carbon Records in Rochester, they're really awesome. They just did one. Leslie Keffer just did one as a noise artist. I support that kind. I like that sort of stuff. I mean, just tonight, if you're not already at Pearspace seeing Whitman and all those guys doing the Folktale Records Festival, like, you should go there. French Quarter, John Phil, maybe, Ezra Bukla's band with Corey Fogel and Daniel Brummel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, awesome stuff.
These are okay.
So, yeah. I can only imagine how good it's going to be. So
people we should get on the show here.
Yeah, that'd be good too. Like,
you know,
it's a much more spacious room than I thought it would.
That's what we're trying to do. Yeah. Some bands are probably a little too big for this room. That's what I'm worried about. But
have them play in the hallway.
Yeah, really. I mean,
what are your neighbors like? You could just like
what neighbors?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there were people walking around out there, but you don't play in the bathroom.
There's some meetings or something that go on.
Yeah, just run some chords.
That's what we're trying to do with this show. Is just a proper, good sonic presentation of music and freedom, and you know. Yeah, so there's room.
Just spread out.
The drummer under the table.
So you are taking up a sizable portion of the floor, but
that's how it works. Yeah, I used to go on stands and stuff, but Steve has a question or a comment.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna put a balcony out there so we can really cold open windows.
Dude, yeah, like a Let It Be kind of thing or something.
Yeah,
like,
really,
I'd like it from the bus stop because it probably sounds great with all the echo across the street.
Maybe like a shotgun mic or something aimed, like a surveillance camera at the space.
How about like a conversation? How about the conversation where you have like surveillance cameras, shotgun mics all around, and
exactly like blow up or
blow
out, blow up, blow in, blow
all the versions of that plot.
Job.
Yeah.
I did have a question though. I'm just kind of like quietly observing. What was you said you were in a band, and now you're doing what you're doing. So what was the transformation? I mean, from
Well, the funny part about the band was all both those bands, VXPXC, which is a 3-piece, and Thousands, which was a 6 or 7-piece, was all improvised as well.
Oh.
So it was sort of always just kind of like, what does everybody feel like they're into? And it'd be like, no, I'm into this. And it'd be a tug and pull through the set to kind of, and then like maybe it would be a violent conflict or not. It would be like not violent, but like it could be bombastic, or it could be like a quiet acquiescence to somebody else's, like, no, we're gonna play quiet, and then it'd be like somebody else would be like, no, like it would just be like a goal to like screw up everybody else's plans and like try something else out.
Vengeance be mine, right?
Yeah, it'd be good when you got them right. I mean, it was for a while it was just whoever had the louder amp. But it really started out from all of us having a love of music, but not knowing how to really express it, or like we weren't in bands per se, but we all loved playing music, so we just got together and played keyboards with each other, and you can't really goof that up so much, like everybody looks at the keys and sees kind of where everybody is, and Oh no, Ged's a musician.
No,
Ged's
he didn't play. He sang, right? He never played.
No, Tim.
Oh, Tim.
Tim played. Tim has a deep understanding of music, and his singing was the most essential part of VXPXE. I thought, like, he was really the voice of that group. If there was like any of us took roles, Justin was the beat. Tim was kind of the beat, but he was the voice, and I don't know. I was just sort of like, I just wanked over everybody most of the time and played like solos and stuff. But and then Thousands was just an iteration of that. Thousands was everybody in VXPXE plus Ged, Caitlin, Jake, and sometimes Randy, and sometimes other people.
Yeah.
Yes, our Glassell Park house. So, and all this has to do with LA too. I mean, just the idea of being here, surrounded by all these people who kind of came out to express themselves, and maybe not being able to do it in their work environment per se, but we all had found niches that allowed us to do it. And then having the Curio was really important for that too, because we always had a place where we don't have somebody to play first, we'll play, like, kind of thing, in the right environment.
Yeah. Yeah, give him the mic real quick.
I remember,
Oh boy.
okay, here's a crazy story. I have a good friend, and she's a teacher, and she had this student that she told me about. And she goes, yeah, this student's into this noisy, weird shit that I think you're into. And it was Adam. And she kept saying, yeah, you got to go to this. He does these shows every month at this place called Il Corral, and it was down the street from me. And it took me a few months to get to remembering to go. So I go to this first show, and I'm just kind of blown away. I'm like, oh, I've come home. Okay, This is it. And it was Jeremy and company had put this on. So then I ended up playing a show. And it was Astronova's as solo at the time before Jeremy joined me. It was Thousands. It was Warm Climate. And it was Metal Rouge. And the four of us didn't know each other before that show. And we all met at that show. And now we're all pretty much intertwined. And, yes. So sometimes it's...
Thank you.
Yeah, you don't know where things are going to come out and how they're going to come out. And if I wouldn't have went out that night.
Well, that's like how I met you, Steve.
Ta-da.
Same kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is like a scene. Like, there's so much going on that you would never know about from cracking open an LA Weekly or such publications. It's just there's so much great shit going on, but you just have to like bump into people or just stumble on it. So that's the trouble. It's just sometimes it's hard to find, but
It's just word of mouth. Actually,
It's worth the look, I guess.
yeah. Do you remember every show that you've ever hosted or played?
Oh, no. Definitely not by the end of the night. But I mean, I remember walking into an El Corral show that you guys put on and seeing Metal Rouge for the first time, like one of their first shows they played in LA.
Yeah,
and that was mind bending.
yeah.
Like, And seeing the gowns there a couple times, that was really good.
Yeah.
They're great. And then, I mean, there's been a lot of really great shows at the Curio too for that, stuff, and it's hard to tell. I mean, it's a combination of just that the place and the people that are there, and then the bands that are playing, the musicians and the, I don't know,
and the gear.
And the gear.
We're all gearheads
some pretty
here, so
freaking awesome
I'm
gear.
sure most of the people listening
seeing
are gearheads.
Randy's collection of gear has already made me pretty obsessive.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Pawning it for skateboards. Now that is just killing me.
Is everybody getting ready for this camp out thing that's happening?
Yeah,
on
so
the
we got
18th?
Jawbone Style, we're calling it, because it's not actually at Jawbone this time.
Apple Valley,
California.
Victorville, Apple Valley.
This is going to be something else. We'll probably see some UFOs out there.
Could we ride some horses?
Yeah, there's horseback riding apparently.
I don't want to ride any horses, but
but so it's going to be a hell of a show.
I'm pretty excited.
You played at the last one.
I'm going to play this one too. It'll be the first night.
Looking forward. Are you playing with any collaborators or solo or?
No. I'm not going to. Jorgen this time I'm not bringing him to play. He's allowed to come out and hang out if he wants. But
okay.
I'll disgrace myself on my own. He did a great job last time, and I'm not blaming him. I was not in the proper place for collaborators, and I don't want to risk it again.
Fair enough. I'm sure you're pretty free. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah. Not horses. No blowing up horses.
No, the dynamite explosions.
Don't blow a horse.
Shock waves.
You can go to Cambodia and rent a
Just bring.
Wow.
Okay, I don't like that.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a very appropriate thing to talk about.
Bring some firewood. That's all I care about. We're gonna have some bonfires and hear some fucking great music.
If hopefully Ben Walcott is back in town and he could make some Brussels sprouts for us again. That was pretty much the best.
He's on the schedule, so we'll see.
The best. He is? Oscillator's on the schedule?
Yeah. Oscillator. Yeah.
That's going to be so good.
So, looking forward to this is going to be something else, though.
Yeah.
But that's usually the highlight of every 6 months for me. Hopefully we can get Steve out there. Hopefully Henry, maybe you'll go out there.
Do you like camping?
I haven't camped out in a long time, but yeah, I think
it gets kind of cold. That's the only downside. I was super cold the last time, and then really super hot after, and it was kind of horrible.
No, it's harsh.
I was pretty hungover, and also
that's how
the effects of other things.
But that's why it's so great, right, Steve? That's why it's so great because it's so freaking harsh.
You had everything. You had your little coffee pot. You guys were like cooking breakfast beforehand. Like, hey guys, what's up? Blah, blah, blah. I slept out under the stars. You're like
the hot liquids.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, like your skateboard is your pillow.
I did a lot of that.
Like what?
I did a lot of that when I was hitchhiking around.
Right. That's called being homeless, though.
There's a lot of freedom and fun to that one. I mean, it's limits, but yeah.
It's an adventure.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
but
I passed out for that. I was thankful for that.
Because
I got late.
5:15 is when the motorcycles kick in. So
yeah. Oh geez.
And then
all ATVs and everybody else.
Oh yeah, let's get some sleep finally, and then.
Well, then we had those people who were blasting dynamite and shooting off guns and stuff. That was pretty awesome.
Randy and I were there by ourselves.
That's way more punk rock than anything we did. Like, to have the entire valley light up in like a light and a sound was kind of it made my heart go crazy. Like I was like, I'm gonna die. So
they just wanted to show you guys how punk rock
they were at that point. It erased all of their fucking Sublime T-shirts and like horrible sports hats.
Yeah,
they were the most punk rock point at that point. Like that was it.
Yeah,
and then it all just came back, and they were horrible people driving around in their ATVs.
Yeah, well, that's what it's all about.
Should we get back into this?
Yeah, I'm itching to hear some more music.
Could you play a little bit of music while I tune my guitar?
Absolutely, I'll play something. You got any requests?
I just want to say thanks. I forgot to thank you for your last set. It was
Oh.
very, very soothing.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Sure,
Yeah, it was,
and,
I like that you played that U2 song. Really,
cool,
huge
cool.
fan of their that era of their work.
they were dynamic
Yeah.
back then. Yeah, very dynamic.
Yeah, and a good atmospheric band.
Yeah.
And then for Jeremy's playing of dog is always a good thing. Steven Davis is a key figure in this scene.
He's a good,
Love that guy, man.
Yeah.
great label that he
He
runs. His music is
has a
great.
really bad habit of playing first all the time and playing really short sets, and I think he needs to get over that and like play a grandiose like 5 encore set one time with like every one of his friends coming out and playing with him, like Prince kind of.
Oh, yeah.
And that would be good. Like if he just like he had costume changes and just really like laid into it.
I remember one time I saw that guy. He fucking had some guy with a fucking bicycle. He was just like contact mics all over.
Oh. Yeah, that's
Oh, that was Andy, probably.
Oh yeah.
Andy
Did
Band?
he have one sidebird?
I don't know. I
It's
didn't
probably
get
Andy
to see it.
Sikora, because he plays
He
bicycle.
did- He showed up. He showed
Yeah,
up
me
in his
and-
bike and he just like rode it inside and he just like started
Yeah, that was
setting
probably
up.
Andy.
That shit was crazy.
Andy plays his bike. I also play my bike. Frank Zappa played his bike.
Oh yeah, but he did it in shows. It was like he did it more. He did it more acoustically.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. With no fucking after party anymore.
Andy Sikora.
Well, I'm just gonna put something on here so Grant can get ready for his next badass set that he's gonna play. So
Fucking minds.
I'll play some traditional music from Japan. Okay, here we go.
So nervous, bro.
So you're listening to Open Windows Show, Killradio, and here's set number 2 by Sleepwalkers Local. show. You just listen to Sleepwalkers Local. Amazing second set of the evening. And with that, feedback. But what we'll do is we're going to say goodnight. Steve, you have any other last words? Sleepwalkers Local, what do you think?
I find it totally amazing. I mean, how do you do it? I mean, I'm just watching you, and it's...
I think of what I can screw up next. I move quickly for a lot of mistakes that
Huh?
try to balance it out so that it all seems
It,
effortless. No.
well, it does seem like it is effortless from one wife viewpoint anyway, but oh, that's a good thing.
That was intense.
Thank you. It was,
Wow.
it was always good to try stuff out and have a receptive audience.
One final question. When will you come back?
Whenever you want.
All right, we'll set a date.
When are you guys going to do a show on the road? We should do a show at Human Resources.
Sounds good to me. Let's talk about it. All right. Good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, Stephen.
Good night. Thanks, Henry.
And good night, everybody. Thanks
Good
again
night.
for tuning in, and see you in a couple of weeks.
Okay. Good night, everybody. Thanks.
And good night, Henry.